If you're feeling stuck on your spiritual journey, the following misconceptions and lies just might be why. Today, we're going to dive into the fallacies around twin flames and soulmates, energy manipulation, darkness being evil. Now, the topic of twin flames and soulmates is something that has caused a ton of ruckus over the years. Most everybody knows what a soulmate is, but not everybody understands the concept of twin flames. I believe that most people have a misconception around soulmates. I perceive that most people think that a soulmate is actually what spiritualists think that a twin flame is. That a soulmate is your end-all be-all, the one and only that you're going to find in this life to be your romantic, intimate partner. You two are going to be like two peas in a pod, just perfectly balanced and compatible in every way. Well, I take soulmates more as buds, mates, people that you come into contact with over the extent of your lifetime, whether it be for a moment in time or years on end, simply to have an exchange. Because we all have souls. Animals have souls, humans have souls. We all have karmic lessons that we can engage with in frequency matches. So to me, a soulmate could be the postman. It could be my dog, could be my best friend, my lover, my family member, what have you. Somebody at the grocery store that just has a kindred spirit and we share a smile. I think that it's important to understand that there's a lot of fluff and romanticism around the term soulmate, but it's not what everybody thinks it is. It's simply somebody who might offer you an understanding, whether that be positive experience or negative experience, because you have a soul and you have a lot of mates, right? And not talking about mate in an intimate way, talking about mate like how Aussies call mates friends, or even just a stranger that they're being friendly to. Now, twin flames is a whole nother level of romanticizing your partnership as an idealism that could be manifested into this lifetime. In the spiritual community, there's an idea that when Creator birthed the first creation point and began experiencing self, the initial oversoul, if you will, was still a combination of the masculine and feminine. It was still a completion of what we experience now as polarity. And as the experience continued to birth and things became more watered down, that next splitting off is what is termed twin flame, where the masculine and the feminine, where the opposite but complementary polarities came into existence and started experiencing themselves. And as more birthed on, the more watered down and further away from the entire totality of Creator as one became. So the idea around twin flame is a much higher elevated experiential thing, where in upper echelons and realms and other dimensionalities, there is an expression of you in two parts that are completely complementary. One is the masculine dominant, one is the feminine dominant. Now, as we have a lot of fantasizing happening for many people on this realm, the belief that we have incarnated into this lifetime where our twin flame is also embodied as another human, which would be our most ideal match, is simply an illusion. Yes, I do believe it's possible. I think it's absolutely completely rare because in my perspective and experience of talking to a lot of different souls on many levels, is that most commonly, the twin flame of one individual stays on the other side to act as a guardian. They are overwatching their beloved to ensure that they have a safe path in this lifetime. They act as a guardian angel, so to speak. I do perceive it's possible to incarnate with a version of what one might deem a twin flame, but I think it's absolutely astronomically rare. Now, because we have these experiences and as children we're raised around these fantasy stories that Disney and all of these other Hollywood movie creators exploit, many people believe that there is a one and only out there for you. I think that's total hogwash. There's billions of people on this planet. There's a lot of wonderful individuals that you could be highly compatible with if you were able to meet them and attract them into your vicinity. So Twin flame is a topic that is highly exploited because what happens in the twin flame belief system is there are a set of structures, if you will, of what a twin flame relationship might look like. And one of these rules is that you'll have a runner-chaser dynamic, because a twin flame is said to mirror exactly your shadow. When you come in contact with your twin flame, if you are not in a state of a higher awareness and emotional intelligence, you and this individual will constantly and consistently project and mirror your faults to one another. And in the spiritualist community, that is believed to help you recognize what is holding you back from being a higher version of yourself so that you can overcome that challenge. Though when you're experiencing it with another individual, it's extremely painful. So because of that, what's been justified in the experience of twin flame is a runner-chaser dynamic. Well, anybody who's understanding the healthy dynamics of stable, secure attachment knows that if somebody's running away from you or ghosting you, then it's important to hold your own self-worth to let them run. You don't need to experience a lack of self-worth because somebody else is too scared to step up and acknowledge you and be honest and transparent. And on the other end of that, if you're chasing after somebody, then you're showing that you don't feel that you have enough strength and autonomy to stand your ground and feel comfortable in your own self and allow somebody in your vicinity to recognize that you are worth approaching and being desired and somebody wanting to engage and endeavor a relationship. A lot of the formula offered for twin flame relationships is just a way to justify an extremely toxic, unhealthy relationship, because really these dynamics start to create love obsessed, love bombing experiences where there's a push pull and you're in an extreme amount of pain and upset, but you have this idea that this is meant to be a more elevated relationship that is ordained by Creator, so you don't want to let it go. But nothing that Creator is going to ordain for you, if that's even happening, is going to be something that's going to throw you into a tremendous amount of pain and hardship. That's something that you're creating on your own accord. Now, another important understanding around this is karmic ties and energy infiltration. So when we're having these ideas about really fantasy relationships, we're creating a tremendous amount of energy courting to these other people. And what happens is the more we're ruminating on these individuals, the more we're accessing their energetic field. So there is a very intriguing phenomenon in the spiritual world where many people indulge in romantic relationships in the etheric realm. What does this mean exactly? Well, this means that they might be focused on an individual that they know on the physical realm or not. They might have met this person in real life, or they might just know that they exist, or maybe they've only experienced them in the psychic realm with their clairvoyant sight. So in their imagination or in their experiencing of when they're, traveling outside of their body, where they're astral projecting, and they're indulging in an entire full-on relationship in their fantasy ideas in the etheric realms. And when this is happening, first of all, it doesn't mean that the other individual is conscious of it by any means. The most common experience is that they're not conscious. And the more we're pushing into another person's energy and having some kind of engagement with them, it's like dream time. If you're not a highly lucid dreamer, then you don't know who you're interacting with and communicating with and engaging with, right? So people are starting to believe sometimes when they're having these experiences that the other individual is completely aware of what's going on, but that's not accurate at all, because it's simply an aspect of their psyche or subconscious in the astral realms that this person is connecting with, if they're actually even connecting with that individual, because it could just be a mock-up. It could be another entity wanting to loose or pull your own energy out of you and offer you up what it is that they know that you want, and engaging in this indulgent romantic relationship in the etheric realm that's not grounded in reality. And I find this to be very dangerous. It gets highly addictive, and it justifies why people feel safe not to have a physical, intimate relationship in this reality now. It starts creating a tremendous amount of energy bleed through and cords, and it starts to give these individuals permission to be in your energetic field and spontaneously or consciously picking up on your energy, tapping into your other relationships and accessing your emotional body, and maybe even accessing you telepathically. It's not healthy. And it's an indulgence that just starts to create an experience where you're dropping all of your energetic boundaries and you're not holding your field strong and secure. It starts to show other entities and energies in the etheric realms that you're a free-for-all. They can just come and jump right on into your body and your energy field, no problem, because you're wide open. Now, talking about how energy is manipulated is very important. I've always taught that I perceive when we're dealing with the etheric realms and the astral realms as a human that is not having a home court advantage, because after all, the etheric and the astral, that's not our advantage. Our advantage is the physical world, is this flesh vessel, is our emotional body. When we're tuning into these other phenomena like mystic, esoteric experiences and expressions, yes, we can access them. And the more you do anything, the better you get at it. Though it is akin to diving into the ocean at night with a light and only being able to see 5 feet at best in front of you in any 20-inch circumference. You have to keep turning around to see what's all around you. There's an endless amount of creatures down there that you're not sure are swimming around you. So you really don't have much sight at all. And that is my perception of anybody accessing the etheric realms. I don't care how good you are at accessing the clairvoyant sight and etheric spaces. It's infinite. It's way beyond what you could ever fully understand, just like the ocean on Earth. So to think that you have an upper hand, that's simply, just a bad judgment call. There are a tremendous amount of entities and energy vampires that are always lurking around trying to exploit you and take advantage. So it's important to understand that when we're tapping into energetic fields, when we're working with other healers, or we're indulging in, our own intuitive abilities, that it's important to have your wits about you and keep safe boundaries and understand it's better to tiptoe than to run head first, because this is not your world. You simply don't know and have enough experience and exposure to what's out there. And it's not something that you want to just open into and start inviting energies in, because the entities and energies and beings in those realms do understand energy. They're extremely adept at it, and they know how to trick you and get into your field. And anybody who has been energetically attacked understands how very tumultuous and time-consuming and laborious it can be to get rid of these infestations and infiltrations. It's painful and it's scary. So be careful and protect your energy, because there are a tremendous amount of beings and energies and entities latched onto other people, acting as healers, acting, as people that want to help, or that know more than you do about these realms and start to love bomb you and get into your energetic field, that simply need to keep feeding on the energy. They keep pulling at your energy. So boundaries should be the first thing you begin to learn when you're accessing any of your intuitive abilities and starting to dive into the realm of spirituality. And the last topic at hand today is the fallacy that darkness is evil. Now, I was raised Catholic, and I've had a long-standing belief that it's smart to fear the demons, because after all, they have ill agendas, bad intentions, and supernatural powers that can come in and wreak havoc on your life. While teaching a class, I came into contact with a student who was a Buddhist and a Taoist, and he explained to me how in Buddhism, they simply perceive demons as like wild coyotes. They're just tricksters. Now, this resonated with me. After all, being from Texas, I have a lot of experience with coyotes, and I see them just the same. I see them as tricky, as a beautiful creature that I shouldn't necessarily turn my back on, but I'm not really that scared of, because they're not very interested in me. So this shifted my perspective on demons and demonology and helped me remember, the law of attraction. If I'm feeding them fear, then that gives them the energy that they need to have ability to overpower me in my energy. Because demons don't have the ability necessarily to manipulate space and time, but they do have the ability to manipulate perception. So it's not efficient for them to access into this realm and start changing what's physical. But what is efficient for them is to manipulate an individual to work for them and start being their slave and having them do the dirty work. So we have to be careful. We have to protect our thoughts and our mind about this. So understanding this concept helped me to realize that I need to shift my focus on darkness. Darkness is the subconscious. All of us have 95% subconscious running our world in every now moment. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm diving into my psyche all of the time. This is what shadow work is. It's feeling the courage to engage in the darkness within you and bring it to light, which helps you understand who you are. The darkness is the space of dream time. If we didn't have darkness, we wouldn't be appreciating the day and the light so much. We wouldn't have the rejuvenation. It helps us to move into that creative indulgence and curiosity. The womb is an extremely dark, dank space that is required and necessary for creation. We come from the darkness and we go back to the darkness. And it's important to understand that all of these religions and anything that start teaching you a fear-based control mindset around darkness or evil is simply trying to overpower and utilize your energy to keep you entrained and submissive to those practices and teachings. It's important to understand when you're coming face to face with what you perceive as darkness or even evil, so to speak, it's mirroring something to you. It's showing you what is inside of yourself that you're desiring to fix. If you're not enjoying what you're experiencing, then there's a lesson there for you to understand. What do you need to change about yourself so that what's being projected outside of you in your holographic reality can shift as well to match your frequency? The void is a dark space. The void is the space that we go to when we're thinking of creative ideas, when we're connecting with people on other realms, when we are too scared to experience something, so we split an aspect of our psyche off and go into dissociation. That part of us goes into the void. And that's not an evil place at all. It's a place where you can go and retrieve parts of you that are extremely important and very special and sacred to yourself, hence the reason you put them there. So I invite you to reframe how you perceive darkness. If you're interested in learning more about spirituality and consciousness, emotional intelligence, subscribe to my e-newsletter at chloe-hudson.com.